Hey there, and welcome to this episode of the Cutting Room Floor. This is where I look back at a small piece of a message that didn't quite make it into the actual message here at Sunny Slope, but it's something that maybe it's a question or a detail that is worth kind of digging into a little bit deeper. And today I'm doing kind of by request. I had actually on Sunday. We looked at the story here at Sunday Slope. We looked at the story of the two lost sons and the father who goes, who welcomes the younger son home and who extends his grace to the older son. It's found in Luke 15, and I'll put a link to the sermon in the here at the end of the video. On Sunday, we talked a little bit about how the text lays out two ways of being lost. You can be lost by breaking all the rules and essentially declaring your independence of God and saying, I'm going to live life on my own terms. Or you can be lost by keeping all the rules and essentially living as though all of the good that you do is merits you something, that it sort of earns you good things from the father, which is what the older brother does in the story. After the message on Sunday, somebody came up to me and asked me a question, which I thought was a really good question, and I thought I would just kind of dig a little bit deeper into it. I'm going to put my my text up here on the screen for you, and we're going to take a look at this. This is at the end of Luke chapter 15. And in particular, we are looking at, I'll show you, we're looking at, oops, let's do it this way. We're looking at this particular verse here. Oops, where is it? Right here. This is the response of the older brother when he finds out that the father has thrown a party for the younger brother who has come home from living this wild and reckless life. And the older brother is resentful and he's angry. Essentially, he's bitter towards his father because his father seems to be throwing this great celebration for someone that the older brother considered to be a complete traitor to the family. Now, and so the older brother makes that case to the father, and the father says something that is rather unusual. He says, "You are a son, you are always with me, and all that is mine is yours." And the question is, what exactly does that mean when the father says, "Everything that I have is yours"? The truth is, I went digging into some commentaries and references, and I found that many of the theologians and the commentators and so on, they don't say anything about this particular phrase, which might clue us into the fact that it's a little bit mysterious. And so I'm going to put that out there because I think everything that I'm about to say is speculation, and I want to be clear on that because I could be entirely wrong here. But I think it's good speculation. In other words, this is not just a shot in the dark, but it's an educated guess. We have to keep in mind, who is Jesus talking to in this part of the story? And the older brother represents the Pharisees and the teachers of the law. And we know that because earlier in the story, back in chapter 15, verse 1, Jesus is talking, he's talking to the Pharisees and the scribes who are grumbling, and they're upset because Jesus receives tax collectors and sinners. So the audience of the story is the Pharisees and the scribes, and it becomes fairly clear early on that the older brother represents the Pharisees and the scribes. Now, I think what's important here and what's relevant is that the Pharisees and the scribes, of course, represent the Jewish tradition. They represent the Jewish heritage, all of the Jewish people. And they were they were the original heirs to God's promises. They were the ones God had made the promise to Abraham, and that had extended on down Isaac and Jacob. And so the Jewish people were at an advantage. They were the first ones to essentially be the heirs of God's estate. They were in a privileged position in that sense. And so in that sense, what Jesus is doing is he's setting up a contrast. He's really saying, okay, the younger son ran away from home and squandered everything. You, as the older son, sit in a privileged position. You have the heritage, you have the advantage of the blessings promised by God to his people. And so it then serves as a sort of extra warning to the Jewish people. Don't reject your heritage. Don't walk away from these promises that have been made to you on down through the generations. And we know that, we find that later on that sort of that theme is picked up later on in the New Testament, say in the book of Romans, where Paul talks about the Jewish people who first rejected the wealth of the Father's home, as it were, the benefits and the blessings of the Jewish people. They had rejected all of that, and Paul warns them about that. And he, I think what Jesus is doing here is I think he's actually setting up. He's trying to show. He's trying to show that the older son is sitting in this privileged position. He's saying, you are all that I have is yours. The wealth of the Father's blessings are right here in front of you. And so don't be foolish enough to reject it. Don't be foolish enough to walk away from it. And again, the story is left open-ended. We don't ever find out how the story ends. And that's, of course, intentional, because Jesus is putting the ball back in the court of the Pharisees. How will they respond? Will they see the benefits that are right there in front of them? Will they see the great heritage that is there for them? Or will they reject it and walk away? So as to this question, you are always with me and all that is mine is yours. What does that mean? Well, again, I want to emphasize, I think it's speculation. Maybe there's better answers out there, but I think that's a possible explanation. So there you go, by reader request. Now, don't forget, like and comment and subscribe. Help me get some word out on this. Thanks for watching. Next week, we're actually going to start picking up with some of the stories of Lent and the passion and suffering of Jesus. So until then, thanks as always for watching, and we'll catch you next time.